Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned, where we preview all the upcoming movies and television for the month. And this month, we're going to be covering August. So we do the research for movies and TV, so you don't have to. I'm the host, Daniel Sangre.
I am not the host, Jose Ramos. Let's get right into it. We don't have time to waste here. Right?
No, we don't.
Uh,
We got a lot of
so
projects coming up in this month.
a lot of movies again. August is usually not your premiere month when it comes to big TV show debuts. So we only really have one. So let's get right into it with the movie starting on August the 2nd, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. This is directed by Jeff Rowe. The only thing I really know from him is he did a Netflix animated movie called Mitchells versus the Machines, which wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad.
Stars Jackie Chan, Seth Rogen, has a bunch of people in there. Basically, the general premise of it is turtles try to, make it out into the real world and be accepted as, normal, not just mutants. Meanwhile, they end up joining forces with April to take down a crime syndicate that's made up of villains. And that's kind of the premise that we get from it. What's your initial thoughts on this?
Um, it feels like with Ninja Turtles, they don't really ever let the property breathe. It just feels like they're constantly giving us new, different iterations until they get it right, and they'll write it out for a little bit, and then they'll kind of revamp it again. So we've had so many different versions of this. I mean, I like the cast that they've announced. I mean, I'm not super excited to be honest, to watch it, but I'll check it out, man. I'm still, I loved them growing up, so I'll probably give it a shot. And the animation looks pretty cool. It's got like a cool little stylized look to it. Feels a little modern and fresh.
In the theater or wait for it to come to streaming?
I'm gonna wait for it to come to streaming. Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the theater for this. How about you?
I agree with you. The animation looks cool. I gotta say, the first trailer when it came out, I was out because the voices were they were just annoying. I don't know, they were like
Mm-hmm.
nails on the chalkboard, the turtle voices that they had in
Mm-hmm.
there. Second trailer gave more story details, so it piqued my interest. But it's definitely geared towards the younger audiences, not really us in general. I like Ninja Turtles, so I probably will still check it out, but most likely once it comes to streaming, not in the theater. Moving on to just a couple of days after that, we have The Meg 2, The Trench, coming out on August 4th. This is directed by Ben Wheatley. I think the only thing I know from him is a movie called Free Fire, which actually was pretty good. Uh, and then Jason Statham and the giant shark. That's who it stars. The other people doesn't matter. But basically, a team is exploring the deep sea, which is always a great idea to do since we know so much about it. And things, surprise, go wrong, leaving them to battle against, the giant megs. This time there is more of them, and they're smarter. They're like hunting in packs and stuff. Most likely leading to Jason Statham spin kicking a shark at some point. Uh, I mean, for me, the first one was surprisingly fun. The second one looks like it's leaning also towards that over the top, campy fun even more than the first one was. So I might check it out in the theater only because there isn't much competition that first like week. So it depends if I want to go to the theater. Uh, but I am looking forward to it being just a shut your brain off, enjoy Jason Statham battling giant sharks movie. What about you?
Yeah, so the first one, I felt the same way. It was surprisingly a little more fun than I thought it was going to be because it sounded ridiculous and over the top, which I knew it was. So anytime you get a project like that, you appreciate it a little more because, okay, you're not trying to sugarcoat this. You're not trying to sell us that this is like a real plausible storyline here. You know it's ridiculous and you're playing into it. I'm surprised they're making a sequel, not because the first one wasn't some kind of small form of a hit, but because it took a really long time to come out with this one. Like, I didn't know they were trying to do a sequel. I'll watch it. I'm not going to go to theaters, but I'll stream it. And it's one of those movies, like you said, late at night, want to laugh. I'll put it on. Sure.
So yeah, so for those listening, this movie, you don't go into it expecting anything serious, any
Mm.
like amazing acting or storytelling. You're just going in to see the battle of shark versus human, and that's it. Don't expect anything more from that.
Mm.
Going on to the next one, next week we have Gran Turismo on August 11th. This is directed by Neil Blomkamp. He's done District 9, which was really good. Elysium, which was good. He did Chappie, which I don't remember much from, so I mean, that probably says a lot there.
Yeah.
It probably didn't live up to District 9. But it starts Archie Madekwe, probably butchered that name, known from C, which is a good series with Jason Momoa. Has David Harbour, Orlando Bloom, uh, the guy whose name I always destroy, Digimon Hansu.
Sure.
Did that sound right?
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. So the fact that I was able to identify who you were talking about by your pronunciation, I think you did all right.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
yeah. The
yeah,
names aren't my strength.
yeah.
Uh, this is actually based how accurately, I don't know, it could be loosely, but it's based on a true story. The original person was
Hmm.
Jan Martinborough, and basically this is based off of a video game. For those who don't know, Gran Turismo is a famous PlayStation racing video game, a realistic simulation type. Well, there's a Gran Turismo competition giving players a chance to become a professional race car driver. And this actually did happen. Uh, so I know it has a strong cast from what I'm seeing. I really like the premise. The trailer, when I first heard about it, I was like, nah. But I feel the trailer kind of sold me on it, where I'm like, this looks like a interesting story with good performances. Seems like it's gonna have a lot of heart to it. So I'm intrigued. Um, I probably won't see it at the theater, but my first chance to see it streaming, I will check it out. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I didn't know it was based off of any kind of story or anything like that. I thought it was completely made up for, just to kind of promote the movie. To be honest with you, I'm not intrigued by it. When I first heard about it, I really wasn't intrigued by it. I saw the trailer and it's like, okay, I feel like I kind of know where this is going already. It didn't really catch my interest, so I'll reserve my time for another project.
Well, but Dan, you don't like a good feel good story, Dan?
No, not necessarily. No, I'm kidding. It seems okay. I'm just not really a huge fan of racing cars and you know how people are like really into NASCAR and the Indy 500.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really a fan of that kind of stuff. So even the Gran Turismo game, I'm a Mario Kart fan. I'm not a Gran Turismo fan. So take that for what you will. I'm not the target audience for it, but it seems fun for people that are into that kind of stuff. It's not for me.
All right. Remember that, studios. Throw in a few more bananas and shells, and you got Dan on board.
There you go. Then I'm here on Stay Tuned, plugging that movie.
Now, the reason I probably won't watch it that opening weekend is because of this next movie that comes out the same day, and it's
Mhm.
going to be the Last Voyage of the Demeter, coming out on August 11th. This is directed by Andrew Overdahl, who's done Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is a very underrated horror movie. One that I haven't seen, but I've heard good things about, Troll Hunter. He also directed Troll Hunter.
Mm.
So he seems to have a good little repertoire under his belt with horror movies. It stars Corey Hawkins from the NWA movie. It
Dr.
has
Dre.
Viggo Mortensen, Javier Botet. So basically, it's a Dracula movie. It's Dracula on an old ship. You have this old merchant ship. All of a sudden, they discover there's something on board with them, killing the livestock. It's Dracula. But this isn't your good looking, charming, sweet talking, about to seduce you like vampire. No, this is like a creature is like a cross between like Nosferatu and Man-Bat. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what you get. So I will say the movie, for me, it looks creepy. I really like the atmosphere that they're building there, at least according to the trailer. Uh, Part of me, it's a little iffy because I wonder how much can you do on such a small ship to keep things fresh and engaged throughout the whole movie, unless you're going to be like an hour and 20, hour and 30 hour movie. But if you start pushing to 2 hours, how much are you going to do on a ship that's that small? It's not a cruise ship. So that's my concern with it, but I will check it out in the theater. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, it really did pique my interest. When I started watch the first time I watched the trailer for the first half, I thought it was Nosferatu because I know that they're making a remake of it. So that's kind of really what I thought it was. And I was like, oh, I didn't know it had Dr. Dre in this movie. It's not obviously, but when you say that it makes you worry that it's like a singular location and they're stretching it out, that's what actually intrigues me. Because when you get something like the movie The Thing, I like it that you're not doing a bunch of different set changes. I like the fact that because when you're dealing with a more singular location with limited rooms, you can let scenes really breathe. And that to me is when you can really encapsulate the horror of this. You can let the audience build up tension. It's very Hitchcock-esque when you do those kind of things. So I'm interested in it. It turned me off a little bit because I saw a very, very heavy use of CG, and I really hope they give us some practical effects makeup with the monster. I really hope that they do that. But overall, I'm intrigued, and I'll check it out. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it in theaters, but I definitely would watch it when it's streaming.
I do agree. I hear you with the practical. I do hope they do more practical. And then with the thing, but at least there, you had multiple parts to the base.
Hmm.
You had outside in the field where they can go. These old school ships. I mean, I'm not old ship like expert, but at least when I think of these, I think you've got the top, the deck area, and then you have like the downstairs, like the one big area in the downstairs, and then it's just open sea. So you are a little more limited with it. I feel length again is going to dictate it. It should be maybe 90 minutes with that setting,
Yeah.
but so for the best.
Hmm.
Next one we have this is a Netflix movie called Heart of Stone coming out on August 11th. This is directed by Tom Harper. Nothing, he hasn't done anything that I've seen personally, so I can't really say much. Gal Gadot is leading the charge in this movie. Basically, an agent for a borderless global peacekeeping agency trying to stop a villain who steals their most valuable and dangerous weapon. To be honest, it doesn't look much different than many of the other bad guy gets a hold of a weapon that threatens the world, but there's one super agent that needs to stop them and probably needs to go rogue in order to do it. That being said, I'm in. Uh, it's on Netflix. It's streaming. It's an action movie. I like to between these complicated or more thought-provoking movies. I like to put in some popcorn flicks in there, some good action that I'm enjoying it. And this movie in the trailer already had better action than the entire Wonder Woman 84 movie. So that's a plus. What do you think?
Yeah. It's basically a female Mission Impossible. That's exactly what it is. So cool. You have me interested. It's just the same complaint that I had in the last movie that we just talked about is the one with this one where it's very, very heavy CG action, which automatically makes the thrills and the excitement lessen because the threat is not really there. And that's what makes Mission Impossible so amazing is because they're practical action that we're seeing. So this one, I understand why maybe she can't do that. No one takes the art of action filming as seriously as Tom Cruise does. Having said that, I'll watch it. I'll the fact that it's on Netflix, I can watch in the comfort of my own home. I'll check it out. I really hope they add some practical action in this, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get that.
Yeah, I can hear you on that. Hopefully, when it comes to Netflix movie, it's more extraction and less gray man
Hmm.
when it comes to it. So we'll see. Right after that, we have Blue Beetle. This is directed by Angel Manuel Soto. He hasn't, I think, done anything that I've seen
Hmm.
personally. It stars Zolo Maridueña, uh, George Lopez, Bruna Marquezine,
Okay.
Marquezine. I don't
Okay.
know some name uh, in there. But basically, this revolves around a DC character, Jaime Reyes. He comes in contact with a piece of alien technology that attaches to him as its symbiotic host. This, of course, leads to powerful people wanting to take the power for themselves. I'm fully on board with this movie. I feel the second trailer did a better job of selling it than the first one, but it's a Hispanic-led superhero movie with a majority Hispanic cast and a Hispanic director. I gotta be there day one to support because we don't get that too often, especially I don't think we've gotten it in the superhero world that I remember. Uh, you know, and Blue Beetle has the ability to be a really cool superhero that people can latch onto if it's executed well. So hopefully they do that because at this point, WB isn't helping it with its marketing at all, and they're just kind of leaving it to die. So it's up to us fans to actually prop it up. Hopefully, it's good enough that word of mouth can help it that second weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like the studio is banking on not overspending on marketing budget because they're trying to make their money back. So it seems like a strictly business move on this, which okay. I wish obviously got heavy marketing on this. It is a Latino-led superhero movie, so for that sake alone, I hope it does well. That's just obviously us being biased. But in all honesty, it looks pretty interesting, man. Like the trailer looks pretty good. I laughed a couple times watching it. There's a couple of really cool looking scenes that I saw, like when he has that giant and it looks like that anime sword, like the Final Fantasy VII sword. When I saw him kind of doing that
Yeah.
pose, I'm like, hey, that looks cool. The VFX in it looks pretty good. It looks like a fun movie, so I'll watch it. You know, what I mean, I'll definitely go and represent. Will I watch in theaters? Maybe if I have time and the situation aligns itself. Sure. If not, I'll definitely watch it on streaming. But yeah, I hope it does well, and I like the actor in it. I like him in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, hopefully the Cobra Kai audience also jumps in there. But yeah, everything you said, and it feels like it's got good emotion in it. I feel like it has the potential to be that quiet hit like Shazam was, the first Shazam, where people watching it like, hey, this is a lot better than we expected, and ended up being a quiet hit. So
Mhm.
the next week after that, then we have actually let's do a TV show because we do have a TV show debuting. We have Ahsoka coming out on August 23rd. This is of course developed by John Favreau and Dave Filoni. Stars Rosario Dawson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Hayden Christensen. We have Anakin coming back. Uh, Look, basically, there's a threat to the galaxy, and Ahsoka needs to work with the rebel crew to investigate and stop it. So, pretty basic concept overall. Uh, it does look interesting to me. I like the characters that it revolves around, especially with like the rebel crew. And Ahsoka is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I feel that's one of the characters developed very well throughout all the shows, the animated shows, and all that. The cons are that Star Wars shows have been very inconsistent from the beginning. We've gotten some bad, we've gotten some shows that start off good and then fade away. We've gotten great like Andor. So you don't know. It's been such a mixed bag what you're gonna get with this one. Are we gonna get another Andor or we're gonna get Boba Fett? Like which one we're gonna get, or even Obi-Wan in there. So what are we getting? It also feels, and this might end up hurting the show, it's a show that you have to have watched Rebels and Clone Wars to understand the characters and get some of the backstory of some of the themes that they might be touching on, especially with Thrawn involved in there. So it doesn't look like it's a jump in fresh and enjoy series. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna watch it anyways because I love the character. Rosario Dawson, I thought she was the perfect casting for her. I'm a huge fan of Rosario Dawson. So I'm gonna watch it. It looks pretty good. Exactly what you said. It's been so inconsistent. And right now we're in the stage of just oversaturation on Star Wars that I'm not excited about anything that they announce. It's too much. It's too much. Just stop, slow it down. But having said that, it feels like this might be one of the last ones because Disney's announced that they're going to slow it down on Star Wars as well. So maybe this is one of the last ones before we kind of get a little bit of those lulls to have us really build up to get more excitement for Star Wars. But I'll watch it, man. I'll definitely watch it. So I'm hoping good things with it. They're bringing back Hayden Christensen, so I hope he's serviced more as a real character and they take it seriously versus just to get audiences just to watch it.
If they treat the characters how they treated them in Rebels and Clone Wars, I think it can be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to come down to. So I'll be watching.
Yeah.
We have two movies left, both coming out the weekend of the 25th. We have one called The Hill. This is directed by Jeff Celentano. It stars Dennis Quaid and Colin Ford. This one's also based on a true story. Basically revolves around this kid who has I don't know what the exact condition is, but he has a condition that affects like his bones. He can't fully like walk. He has braces, but he wants to be a baseball player. So it's his journey of trying to be a baseball player and make it to the league and having his body hold up against the wishes of his father, who just wants him to be safe and live a normal life with his condition. Uh, to be honest, feels like most sports triumph movies, and the trailer really gave me Hallmark vibes uh, from it. I probably will not be checking this out unless like people come to me and they're like, "This is amazing! Like such a good movie." But it felt like something I would see on Hallmark accidentally. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I completely agree with you. It feels like a Hallmark movie. They just happen to cast a an A-list actor, right? Like, hey, you got somebody good, and that's the reason why it's coming out in theaters. It feels, and when in the beginning, I felt like, man, this feels a little bit like Forrest Gump, kind of. We had the braces, like he's gonna overcome, and then they're trying to give it the father that is trying to protect. You already know how the movie's gonna end. Like, I already know how the movie's gonna go. I know how it's gonna end. There's not gonna be any surprises. I do like the fact that they're making it feels very 90s. So I like the fact that they're kind of going back to that well a little bit to give us stuff that's different because it feels like and I say that even though this trope has been done a lot, but in the current state of movies that we're in right now, we're not getting a ton of these movies. So I like the fact that they're giving us different variety. Now, having said that, well, what they're giving us is stuff we've seen 1,000 times already. So I sound hypocritical to what I just said. And will I be watching this? No, I will not. So thank you for giving us something that's a little different than the movies I'm getting in this current year, but it's not different than anything I got in 5, 7, 10 years ago. So I'm
Yeah.
good.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because it does fit a similar formula to sports movies that we grew up with.
Yep.
So it might be a little fresher for a newer generation. But
Yes.
for us, it does feel like some of the stuff we used to get a lot. A
Hmm.
lot of those Kevin Costner movies and things like that, those sports triumphs.
Yeah.
Uh, but that same weekend, we also have another movie called Retribution. This is directed by Nimrod Atal. He did Vacancy and Predators, movies that were not bad, but they weren't amazing overall. Stars Liam Neeson, basically a businessman who recently lost people a lot of money, gets a bomb put in his car. Now he has to follow orders of a mysterious person, or they will detonate the bomb. So kind of like Neeson's commuter mixed with speed, but without the speed minimum. Um, Honestly, it looks like the kind of movie you expect from Neeson since he became an action star. We get at least one per year, so it's not looking much different. For me, this is gonna be stream at home after I've got nothing to see and I just need a action movie that I don't have to think too much. I might put this on.
Yeah. So I wrote down speed/phone booth because it reminds me of that. Like, in the beginning, it's the speed, you got to stay above here. And then, well, you have to do a series of tasks. Otherwise, I'm going to blow this up and whatever. This is one of those movies that I'm going to wait to see what Jose says and then go off of that. So I'm not going to watch it. It's not, I don't feel the need to have to watch these type of movies all the time. I like smart action movies. I can also really enjoy dumb action movies. I don't like middle of the road action movies. So either give me like a Meg that I can really have fun and cheer because I love really bad action sometimes, but also love the Mission Impossibles and I love the smarter action. So this one feels like it's in the middle of the road. Hopefully, I love Liam Neeson, like he's cool, but it's just I need to see something different.
Yeah, which I don't think you are going to see
Yeah.
anything different from this. No. And that is all the big things coming out in August, movies and TV show wise. So we kind of got a mixed bag. Uh, there really isn't anything like huge coming out this month that is like must see. So I feel the streak is kind of broken that we've had over the last couple of months. But there are some things in there with potential that hopefully turn into some quiet gems that we didn't expect.
And I actually think that's a positive because as we knew, we're kind of past that summer season, as you said, and we noticed in a lot of the movies we covered that we were excited to see. they considered financial flops at the box office. So now we're starting to get a lot of these, what we've mentioned, like those more middle to smaller independent projects. We're starting to see those now coming in, and there's a lot of potential and excitement to get some gems, like you said. Now the pressure's off, so to speak. So let's just watch some good, entertainment, and hopefully some of these deliver. So thank you for watching another episode of Stay Tuned. We preview the upcoming movies and television for that current month. You can catch us either at the end or the beginning of each month. I'm your host, Daniel De Sangre. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
I'm not your host, Jose Ramos. You can find me at This Is Mi Nombre on Instagram.
Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads at Not a Strong Start, and watch with us and stay tuned.